5'11", 215.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah, you'd be like 18% body fat, 16% body fat.
Yeah. That's good. You don't have to be that close.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, everybody. Know Nothing's podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Ray.
There's Ray. All right, I forgot that I have to do the camera, too. Yeah. Philip's sitting back there. Hey, Philip. How's it going? I don't have a camera on you, but you just pipe down.
Are we in live?
We're live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just bring it in. I like to do I like to do that.
Yeah, we're usually talking for about 10 minutes before you jump us on in there. We just sat down and got started. I got to get.
We're talking about me losing some weight.
Yeah, I got to get in that frame of mind. So, 40. Why 30? 30's too easy.
30?
30's a joke.
Is it a joke?
That's a joke.
Losing 30 pounds is a joke to you?
Yeah, when you're 270, it's
Yeah.
easy. That's easy.
I
You
keep
know you're
catching
an
myself in the mirror, and I'm like, oh my god,
You're
it's
a
all in my
bodybuilder,
belly.
so
Yeah.
you know that 30 pounds from 270 is nothing.
It's not.
It's 11% of your body weight.
That's all in the kitchen.
all in the kitchen.
All in the kitchen. So I've been eating like every 3 hours. I'll eat like chicken breast, and then 3 hours later, I'll eat like a steak, a little piece of steak.
Yeah.
And like have half a cup of brown rice, and baby Brussels.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to lose 15.
So I'm just really making that happen.
Yeah, I'm just eating protein and veggies. That's
It just feels like I'm starving myself all the time, because even though you eat every 3 hours, it's so little that
Eat
it's
big-
just like
eat-
you're hungry all
Eat a
day.
lot.
Eat a lot?
It wouldn't matter if you ate three 8-ounce chicken breast. That's like what, 600 calories?
Philip, can you hand me that pop screen right there? Because I'm getting a lot of pops on.
That's like, or if you ate a ribeye, that's not that many. 700-800 calories maybe.
Yeah, here, let me get this on here. There we go.
Yeah.
That's where we're
Now a
talking.
little less popping.
Little
But no, I
less
think
poppy pops.
now 30's a lot if you were 225 right now.
30
I'd
would
be
be a
like
lot.
30's pretty challenging, right? 'Cause
30 would put me in where I was in high school, and that I wasn't very big in high school. I was like a twig.
But you weren't.
I wasn't a
No,
twig.
you weren't 200 something either, right?
I wasn't 200.
You were like 160.
170.
Okay, so that's 100 pounds.
Yeah.
That's not 30.
You know what's funny is like you get older and you
not
got like a
even
real skinny face. Yeah.
the fuck are you talking about?
It's not. I get my ones and twos mixed up when we're
Yeah.
talking about 200 pounds.
40 pounds is where I was in high school. What were you in high school? 130?
I didn't mean it like that. 130. I'm not good. Like, here's something that happens to me when I'm talking about weight. I'll say like, I need to get down, and I'll say, somebody will be like, how much do you weigh? And I'll be like, oh yeah, like 170. I'm like, no, 270.
Yeah.
And then, or they'll say, oh, the blah blah blah, and I'll be like, 270. I never.
I do that with time.
I get
I'll
it
say,
all messed
I
up.
say like, yeah, the other day, and I'll be talking about 2009.
Yeah. Oh, I do that a lot. Like the older I get, the more times like I'll be talking to like somebody younger, like in their 20s or something, and I'll be like, yeah, you know that song from this band, and they're like, what? And I'm like, well, that was out when I was a grown man. I'm like, well, how old are you?
And they're 27, and they have no
27.
idea what the hell you're talking about.
They're like, I had an emo phase back when I was in the 8th grade. I'm like, what?
Well, we've reached the moment in time. So now it's like, if you're online, like things from like 2010 are becoming nostalgia for like
Right.
30 somethings. I'm
Yes.
like, oh my god.
That's yeah.
Oh.
And then everything
And stuff from the 80s and 90s. If you look at like on the internet, when they have like those videos like class of '92 walking around, you're like, that looks like a million years ago. Like a million years ago.
And even like in you see like a 2010 and the camera quality, it looks old.
It does look old because that's 13 years ago. It's a long time. It's the equivalent to like, say when you had graduated and it was 2010 and you were looking all the way back to your high school. That's what it's just like perspective is. I saw this meme. It was like Dazed and Confused was made in 1993. It was a movie about the class of 1976, right? If a comparable movie like Dazed and Confused was made today, it would be about the class of, I think it was 2007.
Oh my god.
That
That's
would be
crazy.
The nostalgic look would be like we're looking back at the class of '07.
Microphone.
I'm just like, that just can't be right.
It is right.
It is right.
Remember thinking like when the 70s were just like so old?
Well, yeah.
And then when I like,
now that's
and I
definitely
was
the case.
I was born in '79. That sounds old.
That is. old. It's so long.
What year were you born, Philip? 60. He was born in 68.
68. That's old too.
That's old. Like
the 60s and 70s are so long ago. If you took an adult that passed away in the 60s or 70s and brought him here, I don't think they could function.
I don't think. Think about like how we would function like that in the future. You know, there's going to be people in the future. Here's the thing. In the future, it'd be like you come back. People would come back and they'd be like, "Well, you're a boy. You're a girl. There's gender," and all the gender stuff would blow their mind. But
the gender. Imagine if you take somebody from 15 years ago, you'd just be like, "What's happening? What's going on? What are you talking about?"
Well, flash forward to the future, bringing us back in the future, it'd be like, "Well, I can marry my dog if I want." Well, yep, they've passed those laws. You can be married to your dog. You know, like it's gonna be like the most wild thing you can think of now. Those people that like wild things like that. I think it's kind of wild.
Well, we couldn't even.
But I think like they will get older, and like the younger generations will want to marry a dog or a dolphin, and they'll be like, "Well, that's just crazy."
It's like the trans will think that.
Yeah, they'll be like, "That's just crazy to marry a dog."
But it'll be like this whole group of people that are normalizing dog marriage.
Yeah, right.
I think the
why can't I marry my dog?
I think the future I think this will be a passe conversation probably. Like it won't go to like dog marrying. It just goes to a different topic. Like history just it weaves differently. You know, it doesn't. We can't predict like if you were in the 90s and you were trying to think about the 2020s. Everything you'd be thinking about that would be important, like politically or whatever, it means nothing.
Nothing.
If you look at like the political landscape of say the 80s or 90s, and you're like, well, this will probably be happening in 2010. Well, none of that really happened, right? It's all different stuff that matters to people now.
Right, and I think everything kind of flip flopped a little bit. Like there's party flip flop lines that things happen on one side and the other. But then I think that was more
like in the 60s.
Yeah,
60s.
but now they've come back like super hard left and super hard right. Now
Only
now
the
everybody's like, now what I don't like about now is like, oh, well you're let's say I'm a centrist, but if you have like like one conservative thing, well now you're just all the way to the right, and you're
just a far right lunatic.
You're a far right lunatic if you have one thing out of the box.
Same thing if you have any progressive thoughts, you're just a far left. Like it's like you can't like individual thought is lost, where no one's allowed to have like individual thought processes.
You have to fit in a box.
It's the most insane shit ever. Like you can't be like, well, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, and I agree with this. Like, no, you have to like, you got to march.
You got to goose step march all the way.
I don't think there's a person in the world that I could be so enamored with that I would agree with everything they say.
Yeah, me either.
How does your brain can't be working
day.
independently? If it can't be functioning independently. Me and my buddy were talking about that at the gym today. I'm like, he was like, well, what about this? Because I was like, oh my God, we're talking about the cocaine gate, and we'll get into that. And he's like, you know, and then we got talking about something about Trump, and it was like, what about this? What about? I was like, man, I am so tired. I was like, I'm just going to tell you, like, I'm so tired of both sides. I was like, when are we going to, as a society, just look at stuff and go, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. Why do we have to go, oh, yeah, well, but what about Mike? You know, Mike was shoplifted in 1991. He's bad, too. We're not talking about Mike right now. Can we just talk about one subject at a time?
I never shoplifted.
Yeah,
by the way.
Mike never shoplifted. But can we just agree that, like, why is it so hard as a society to go, yeah, the person that I follow did this fucked up thing. It's clearly fucked up, and I can admit that it's fucked up because I'm not married to this dude. Why is that so difficult?
Because everybody wants to be on a team. It's like a pack mentality, or like
yeah, but history's gonna judge you harshly. I think history is gonna judge people like it's gonna be like, man, it's almost dystopian. Like, oh, these people didn't have their own thought processes. They were all every time, you know, no matter what their guy does, there's a way to make it right. Right? Like, why can't we just say like, obviously you can't have cocaine in the White House. We all know it's probably Hunter Biden. We all know that's a fucked up thing to do. You know, the thing to do for Cocaine Gate, the thing to me to do would have been, you just come out and what if you just come out and go, hey, listen, guys, we know whose cocaine it is. It's Hunter's, okay? My son has a problem. He has a disease. We want to get him all the help we can. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. We would appreciate your prayerful concern. Just go out there and make a speech like that. Own your bullshit.
That opens up a huge can of worms, because now obviously,
No.
and this is laughable. Me saying this, like, credibility of everybody's concerned, because they're obviously the credibility of our president. He can't even walk around.
Think about the credibility of anybody you know. It's always restored when they look you in the eyes and go, "Hey, Mike, I'm sorry I did that to you, man. Like, I did that. That's my bad. Like, you would totally forgive me if I did something that wasn't like."
I think the world would still spin around if Hunter Biden came out and said if they said it was his cocaine. I think he would still get all the deals he does. He would still be able to just be who he is, and which is, some guy who gets paid on boards of foreign country
for whatever
businesses
reason,
or whatever, and still nobody talks about any of that either. So.
But everybody talks about it. That's I hear.
No, but nobody talks about it to us from a like.
But how do I
the
hear
news?
I hear it with such frequency from all these news agencies, and I hear people say no one talks about it when everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, but they don't talk about it. Nothing happens when they talk about it, right?
Well,
it's all just hearsay.
No, they do talk about it. That's what I'm saying. They invest.
I don't watch the news anymore. I quit.
I just found that interesting.
I only watch TikTok.
Yeah, you can learn a lot on TikTok. You can learn more on TikTok than you can on. I just think owning your bullshit. I think owning your bullshit goes way further. Like if Biden just says, "Yep, it was Hunter's coke." You just admit he has a problem. People would love that. Then it's a redemption story. Then when you come back, you're like, "Oh, look, he's healed. He's better." And everybody's like, "Yay!" And people on the other side are going to hate you no matter what you do, right?
Oh yeah, there's nothing he can do.
Nothing if you're on the right,
there's nothing.
There's nothing you can do that the left's going to like. If you're on the left,
the only thing he could do for everybody in the right today would just be come out and bash his dad and say, "I am going to run on the Republican ticket."
Yeah, then you would watch it flip. Then watch it. It'd be all hands on deck then.
Hell yeah.
But you just own your bullshit, man. I think America likes a redemption story. They would forgive you for that. Like, I don't know why that's. I just think we've lost so many basic human things that make us human. Like, and it's just hard for people to do now. Like
empathy.
Just own your bullshit.
I walk around. I pretty much am at home. I work at home right here on these computers. Well, and but when I leave and I say drive to Atlanta and back, there are some really rude people that are out there that are just rude. Like if you stop and you go in somewhere, I hate to say it, it's like I hold the door for somebody. Like I hold the door for like an older lady. They're always like, "Oh, thank you very much." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
Of course.
You hold the door for a younger person, and they're like, and they just like walk through. I got a funny
Does that
story.
happen?
I don't. Yeah. Oh, it happens a lot, and I do it just to get that reaction, so I can go, "You're welcome." So I got a funny story. I don't know if I told this. I don't think I told this. These two people were walking into a Love's, and they were large. They were large-bodied people, over 300 pounds.
Yeah,
a man and his wife, and his wife was walking up first, and I just come out the door.
Where was this at?
This was at the Love's in before you get to Vicksburg. So
okay,
that Love's. I open the door. The guy's wife comes through first, and she says, "Thank you very much." I say, "You're welcome." I held it for him to go through, and he did like this and walked through. And I just was like, "You're welcome." And he turns around and he says, "I didn't say thank you." And I went, "Or what did I say?" He said, "I didn't say thank you." And I said, "Well, you're welcome." And he said, "Still didn't say thank you." And I was like, "Well, what do we do now?"
What do you do now?
What do we do now?
Y'all just walked away. I guess
I'm just gonna go to my car, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just
what a
closed the door and
douchebag
went
thing
to the
say.
car. I didn't say thank you.
Why was he such a douchebag?
I don't know. They were probably fighting or something. I don't know. And I just held the door for him. But he was like, "I didn't say thank you."
That's pathetic.
I was like, "My God, really?" And I just it dumbfounded me because I just stood there and looked at him like, "Well, what now?"
That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. What's wrong with people?
I don't know. That happens a lot. I'll walk in. You know how you walk into places now and they're like, "Welcome to Love's." They're like, "Hey, we're here," or whatever. Mm-hmm. Most people don't even acknowledge anyone's existences anymore. Do you remember like walking around in the other universe and you'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing?" Now it's like New York everywhere. It's just like Nobody looks at anybody. Nobody says hello. No, nothing.
I think it weirds
Everybody's
people
just
out to
going
have human interaction, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like, oh God,
You
I don't
think
like that. I think that's it. Like I think there's an
You think the phones did that to us?
I think there's an overwhelming amount of social anxiety that's built up now. I think it was extrapolated even further during COVID. I think people just stayed at home.
That's pretty good.
And they got like in their own worlds and in their own heads, and they doom scrolled all day. And you build up all this hatred in this.
You look at all the video, like if you just look at Karen videos, then you don't want to interact with anybody because you don't know if they're going to Karen out on you. Or
like
you look
everyone's a
at all
Karen.
these police videos where police are being, rough with everybody and stuff. Then you're like, all worried, but that's not the case.
It's not
all
not
the
like
time.
It's not like the majority.
Yeah.
It's the fact, because like the reality and the truth is, we live in a far less. Nobody believes me when I tell them this. There's far less crime and violent crime in 2023 than there was in 1993. And people are like, that's not true. I'm like, it's absolutely
100%
fundamentally 100% true.
And we have better ways of keeping track.
Dude, gangs were everywhere.
Think about
back
how much things slipped through in '93. Now it's like, my God, there's the cameras everywhere, everything, and all the, if you want to go statistically.
That's what it is. Just the amplification of everything. Like everything's it's the same thing. That's why politics is so nasty. Like politics was always nasty, but it was kind of like set off to the side.
We
right?
didn't see every minute of every day of politics. We just saw it was a little. We didn't know about how nasty it was until there were cameras in everywhere, and every single thing was happening, and then it just got nasty on camera. I think with Donald Trump when he.
For
do
sure.
Do you remember anything nastier than like those debates before Donald Trump on television?
No, because people don't behave like that are run for president. Why would? That's why I don't. That's what I've never understood is why is that something we desire? Someone who's quick with insults. Why
it's
is
all
that?
entertainment, bro.
I know,
it's
but
just entertainment.
I know, but we're looking for a president. A president.
It's entertainment.
We're not.
It's entertainment. We're looking for a president, but we also want to be entertained because, and see, Trump knew that.
Yeah, he did.
He did because he's basically a reality TV star.
Not basically. That's what he is.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
Well, I said basically.
Yeah, even in the '80s, that's he was always trying to cultivate his persona.
Well, I just remember like I think the first time I ever saw Donald Trump, I was a kid, and he was on a commercial for a credit card.
Yeah,
and he was standing in a dumpster with a credit card or something, and somebody walked past him in New York and was like, "Oh, I thought he was doing good," like that. But I think he was just like, "I'm gonna go out there and give him a show, and then people are gonna like that, and they're gonna vote for me."
Well, I know. I just think at this point, I don't know how people I just think people are so blinded to the whole thing. Like, so like Kennedy, like the new guy Kennedy. Have you heard him at all?
Oh yeah, watch.
He's really good, right?
Yeah,
but
he has that throat problem.
You know what I've heard of everybody say? They're like, I can't get past his voice. I'm like, bro. I was like, and saying that it's like saying, well, this guy's really smart.
Well, he has a
articulate.
disease.
I know, but it's like, oh, this guy's smart and articulate, be a great leader, and somebody's like, he's missing a hand. I mean, it's just like the dumbest. Like,
it's like the dumbest thing ever.
I can't get past his voice. Like,
I gotta have a president with two hands.
Like,
why wouldn't you? Is it too not normal?
I mean, his voice. I'm like, is his voice?
I can't vote for this guy because he's got that. I forget what I looked it up.
Even though he says things that I agree with, I couldn't vote for him because of his voice, and he's not as funny as the other guy. Like,
because we want a funny president.
If we put up another Biden versus Trump ticket, we deserve whatever the fuck we get.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Either one of them's a train wreck.
We really need somebody. I don't know, man. We really need somebody to.
Can we not agree? Can we not? Can I just get everybody's? Can we not agree as a society that either one of those choices is an absolute fucking train wreck? I know I'm an outlier, okay, and I know it's like I'll be ostracized on the internet for saying this, but like, are you really telling me if you were hooked to a lie detector test, that everybody in the world wouldn't say like, yeah, this is an obvious train wreck, like this is complete horseshit? Like, either one of these choices are as bad as you can get. You tell me a time when we had two worse choices.
Well, I will tell you this. I don't know anybody in their right mind that's living their lives that would want to be president other than a couple of megalomaniacs. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nobody else for the job. So we got to pick these crazy motherfuckers that want to run the country. Who would want to run the country, especially now with all of this. And
People are power
Obama
hungry.
got all of it first because Obama got the internet, and he got it hard first.
Yeah.
Because of the internet, and then it just, oh my God, it's just off the rails. It's like,
But he
you
handled
talk
it.
to older people.
But he handled it
you
with
talk
such
to older
dignity
people,
and
they're
class.
always like, president. Oh, total dignity.
He
and
handled
class.
it with
Total.
such dignity and class.
My favorite shot.
How could
of him-
anyone say that's not the right way to do it?
My favorite thing I've seen of Obama has nothing to do with policy or anything. He's at a basketball court. Somebody throws him a ball, and he's like 3-point. He's past the 3-point range.
Yeah.
And he just, boop, puts it right in 3-pointer and just walks off.
Yeah.
I'm like, that dude.
People have to
that's
admit
awesome.
he's kind of cold. Like he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he's
Totally
kind of
cool.
clutch. Like
Oh yeah.
and there's no way. It would take. I just need to be convinced that you could tell me that was a bad presidency. It wasn't. It was no scandals. You know what you remember what the scandals?
But here's the funny thing. I drove truck the entire time, and I didn't really pay it. I did well.
Well, okay. Let's think about what the
business did
scandals
well.
were. Okay.
What were the scandals?
One
I
ti-
paid no attention to his presidency.
One time they had a big thing on Fox News because he asked for honey Dijon mustard on his burger.
Okay.
That was an outrage, like because they were trying.
Why?
They were like, "Oh, because he's such an elitist, Mike." Like,
Oh.
what kind of elitist wants? And then another time, you're not.
Who
Gonna,
wants wine in their mustard?
You're not-
Elitists.
You're not going to believe this scandal. Another time, when he was president of the United States, he had the audacity to wear a tan suit. That was another big story. They ran that for a week.
These are the hardcore things.
Yeah. So you were talking about like.
No. You mean to tell me there were no?
Now he did have some drone strikes or something where I think he killed some civilians. That was kind of tough.
Well, that's something that has to be executed, and there's a lot of people involved.
But overall, I feel like look, both sides are trying to get their policies.
no
right.
hookers, huh? No porn stars.
No hookers, no porn stars,
No, none of that.
No dementia, no shit in his pants,
But
no
he
falling
like-
off bicycles.
He
no
likes
fucking,
Dijon mustard.
He likes Dijon mustard, and it's like, oh, who does this guy think he is wanting Dijon mustard on his?
Hold on, was it Bill Clinton who would jog and then like jog to McDonald's?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's just like jog to McDonald's and eat
That had to be like McDonald's was probably sponsoring him or something in like 92, 93, whenever that was.
But also Donald Trump fed everybody McDonald's. didn't
Even
he?
Clinton, when he's
That's also
when he's
sponsored. McDonald's
Yeah.
has got their hands.
Oh,
in
and everything. Even Clinton, when he was getting blowjobs, I mean, he obviously had a huge scandal. But the rest of the time, at least when you would talk about policy, he could address policy, talk to the policy. Here's what I want. This is really all.
Well, Bill Clinton
Speak to
had an
it.
eidetic memory. Like that, people would say that I read a couple of things where he like the Secret Service or whoever, he would do like he'd get a speech and he would just read the speech and then he would toss it and he would go up and give the speech. Like he could like he had an eidetic memory.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
What
Like,
Trump does is when he just can't read anymore, because he can't read well. You know that, right? Like
No, I don't know that.
he can't read well. So that's like
Well,
that's
they can't read classified.
that's been I know that's been saying that since The Apprentice. So if you'll notice when he gives a speech, he'll be like, an arbiter when he gets to a word he can't say, he's like, you all know, and he just goes. Then he's like, fucking, he's ad-libbing from there on. That's when he gets off the rails, starts talking about like, it's only me that could do blah blah blah, and only I could save you, and then like none of that's written down on.
Well, Biden can't even. I mean, I really think I have it on my phone. Excuse me. I really have it on my phone where I think one of Biden's speeches is a complete AI of him giving a speech because his hands keep disappearing and reappearing in like milliseconds above each other like this, and all this right here is fine. Like it doesn't go like he's not talking and it goes blah 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 blah. No, it's just his hand. He's not even moving his hands. That's the thing though about it. He's not moving his hands up and down.
Just his arms.
They're just here and they go blink 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 like that.
It's probably
that's-
computer generated. Somebody probably made that, right?
It's a no. This is a speech I was watching on the news that he was giving. I think it's a complete AI of him.
Well, he does a lot of crazy
giving a speech.
He does a lot of random shit, like just walking
the
off,
fact
like
that
walking off the stage when it's starting,
and the fact that he flawlessly did the speech.
well, he does
really
that.
tells
He
me
does
it
that
was
sometimes.
I'm telling you, it was an AI.
But-
I'm telling you, I'll have to show you on my phone.
Oh yeah,
I might have sent it
so
to
he
you.
has moments where he's talking, and you're like, man, this guy might know what he's talking
They
about. And
juiced him up.
and then it's just poof, it's just hard left quick. He can get his mind will get distracted, or whatever.
How is
happens,
he our president?
He just glitches. He fucking glitches.
His brain is old. How is he president? He is so frail. It's sad.
His family ought to be ashamed.
Oh my God! Why haven't they done something?
Parading
about this?
him up there, like, so it takes somebody like me who's a true independent to say, like, you have to be able to see that this is insane.
This is insane.
Just like you have to be able to see that, like, if they've asked you 4 times for the classified documents to give them back and you refuse to give them back, that is also insane.
Yep. No repercussions. Just give them back to us. Still won't do it.
Refused.
Refused.
Because he had his underwear in there.
No. No, don't want to see that.
That's what he's claiming is he's like, well, I had all kinds of personal belongings in there. That's why I wouldn't give them back because, like, I didn't know. They're like, well, you had like 9 months to go through them. Oh, well, you know.
I'm busy.
I'm so ready for that trial to come out and for it to I mean, even if the trial comes out and there's enough evidence to stretch from here to California and the whole of America can see it play out on camera, there'll still be 42 probably estimated 40 to 42 million people that say, nope.
I'm just going to tell you this.
Didn't happen.
I don't know. I think all presidents and all that and all the show, the big horse and pony show, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be no matter what because he was a president maybe, or people really don't like him and they're going to burn him down. Because no other presidents have ever. What other president has ever been burned down?
What other president? What other presidents ever broke the law at this level?
Probably
at this pace?
all of them.
It's not true. That's what everybody says. Like it's something that people say to make them feel like.
No. I'm just saying that because you can't say that they didn't because you don't know because you don't know.
So they're political. I do know. I know this much for sure. I do know.
You don't know what all the presidents did.
I do know that they're
all of them.
I do know this is what
Calvin Coolidge.
This is what I know about Calvin Coolidge. I know that had he broke the law at such a level, your political opponents would crucify you. Politics is nothing. There's nothing new under the sun.
You're right.
Your political opponents aren't going to let you break the law.
There's a microscope on all of them when you got a political opponent.
Any president throughout time, if they did something, their political opponents are waiting every minute for you to fuck up. They're constantly waiting, right?
It's like that show with what is it? Kevin Spacey and his wife, and he becomes the president from being speaker. That like if you haven't watched that, I don't know. I'm not like I know Kevin Spacey's been canceled or whatever, but like. Because of what he did.
So I don't know that.
But I'm just saying, if you ever watched that show, you need to watch that show. You like politics?
No, I don't really. I don't really. I'm just interested.
You do. Stop saying you don't like it. You love to talk about it.
I like to talk about what's going on, but I don't like it.
I'm just gonna tell you this: if you watched House of Cards, you watched the first 3 seasons, you won't be able to stop watching it. It's so, like you just said, everyone is gunning for you. Even at the lower levels, everyone is conspiring.
Oh, I got a buddy who's mayor. He'll tell you like it's
crazy.
It's wild. He'll tell you it's wild.
The show's wild.
But
I'm sure it's true to form.
So follow the law like that people love.
Listen, I like Donald Trump.
They love the facts on the far right. They're like, facts don't care about your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings. So follow the logic. Follow it out logically. No, he's not the first. He's not the only person. They're not attacking him on some crazy ass witch hunt, right? Like they would if Ronald
Reagan. It's
not
a witch hunt.
If Ronald Reagan.
It's not a witch hunt.
If Ronald Reagan took classified documents and refused to return them, you don't think his political opponents would crucify him? If Bill Clinton took classified documents and refused to return them after 4 requests from the DOJ, you don't think his political opponents would crucify him and they would do everything? They impeached Clinton over a blowjob, right?
Right.
And it made total sense to them, right? It made total sense. And okay, fine, that's right. He lied under oath. That's what they impeached him on.
Lied under oath.
Yeah. And guess what? He did lie under oath. And guess what else?
I did not have sexual. He said, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Miss Lewinsky.
With that woman. That's what he said.
So as soon as
meanwhile, I'm growing up in high school, and I'm like, the president's getting his dick sucked.
So what did they do? Let's think about it. Let's walk it back. What did they do? They waited till he committed the smallest infraction you could commit, right? Lied to Congress, which it's an infraction.
Is that small?
I'm saying on the scale of things, compared to having hundreds of classified documents, not giving them back. Yes, it's small, and then lying to people, and then trying to obstruct justice, and then trying to call witnesses and get them to cover it up. I'd say it's small compared to that, but it doesn't matter. My point is this: I'm saying what?
I don't think lying to Congress is small.
I don't. I'm just saying they're looking for anything for your political opponent. So why were they so eager to go after him? But yet this is a witch hunt.
Why don't they go after Biden?
They do.
And his
what
son.
What is people not understand?
Why does it all bounce off of him?
Because
I feel like it all bounces off of him.
Here's the deal: they do an investigation. The investigation. If there's enough facts, you can indict.
Listen, you got to remember, I'm not on either side of this.
Me neither.
I'm just saying, in my perspective of the world, it seems to me like it all bounced like with the cocaine thing. They're just like all of a sudden it's just like, well, we don't know. There's no cameras, and
that seems like a massive cover-up.
It seems like it's a huge cover up.
But it happens all the time that Democrat officers, senators, congressmen, whoever break the law, get arrested for breaking the law and pay consequences. If you go back through history, it's not like they've only picked one side or one person to pick on. Whoever breaks the law, they're going to try to expose that. That's how it works. And if you have enough proof, not conspiracy theories, not chasing ghosts, enough actual proof, you could present to a grand jury. The grand jury would say, this person's guilty. I'll think it's worthy of an indictment. That's how the criminal justice system works in America. It's worked that way forever. It's not
court of public opinion.
It's just simply not true. They do investigate these things. Sometimes they investigate it. And sometimes they investigate and they're like, hey, there's nothing here. And we're like, bullshit. And sometimes it probably is bullshit.
I'm just going to say, fuck all that. I'm going to live my life and not worry about it.
Well, I just like watching the movie.
That movie sucks. I'd turn the channel on that one. I'd rather watch the movie on something else. Like what you sent me the other day about, I get more into like the Nephilim have come out of Area 51 and they're running around.
Oh, me too.
Giants.
Me too, for
That's
sure.
way better than I've never seen a Nephilim. I've never seen a giant, but I'm waiting for somebody to get that on their phone. I want to see the giants.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
They said there's like 100 and something of them.
100 of them. Why can't we get this on film?
Hey, did you hear that those 60? Well, it's got but it all goes back to politics because there's like 62 pages of more UFO stuff supposed to be released.
Oh yeah.
But Congress has got to approve it or whatever. Why don't they just release everything? Why don't they release everything?
I think because if you want to go down the tinfoil hat thing about it, is you could say that if they released everything, you would find out that they already made an agreement with some of them, saying that they could like abduct us and do experiments on us. You could say that because people get abducted. Most people get abducted and they don't even know they're abducted. Abducted because you don't remember, because they have these really great technology where they memory wipe you.
Yeah. Are you convinced enough on those?
I feel like
stories?
I'm going to say this. I feel like when I lived in Georgia, some things happened in my yard that I was memory wiped.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been memory wiped. I know that sounds nuts.
Just for like an hour or a day or
memory wiped about. I think something crashed in my yard. And why I think this is because I lived a little bit out in the woods on 6 acres on a flag lot, so my driveway's like really long. Okay, and where I had a fire pit, it's just not a pit, but it's just like where I had bonfires. There you could see. I got up one morning and you could see where something had clipped at a 45-degree angle the tops of all the trees, and it would have put it right where that my bonfires were. And I came home one day and all around that bonfire was this really red color. And then
you told me this
there
before.
was I told you this. I wasn't ever going to talk about it on here, but like then there was like,
why not? That's the shit to talk about.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want him to come get me. Like this something you could visibly see something was dragged on my grass to my gravel driveway that was about 2 football fields long.
Yeah.
Dragged all the way up the driveway. Like you could see where something was dragged.
Like a body?
No, like a metal, like something that would
Like graded,
like if you like it was like you could just tell where like the gravel was pushed aside and something was dragged, and then on like each side of the driveway, like something spilling over red on the like completely red, like a strange red. Like vegetation was dead red on my property.
This is crazy.
Yeah. So you got all that. Well, and then like I think they dragged it to a certain point, then put it on the back of something, and then took it. But there are these little things in my mind where I almost remember being at the house, and there was like a big loud crash, and I go outside. I don't remember anything beyond that. Like I don't remember if there was or not. My brain, and ever since then, I have kind of a memory problem. I also had that triangle UFO float over my house.
Floated over the house. Yeah, just hovered.
It also, the brain scramble that I got, apparently, I can't tell which was first. I don't remember which was first. I do know that 2009, January 9th, 2009 was when that flew over the house.
You mark that date down or something?
Yeah, I did, because it was so crazy. And
you don't remember if that was before or after the bonfire crash?
I don't remember if it was before or after that. So,
and your kids saw the...
Yeah, we all saw it.
If you talk to them now, they remember it?
Oh, yeah, they remember it.
Vividly.
Because
they were like 9 or 10, right? They weren't like 2.
No, they were that old. So, Noah was 8 years old, and Christian was a teenager.
13 or 14.
Yeah. So, and we all stood in the front yard and looked up at it, and it was wild. It probably was like, the USAF on it, but it wasn't making any noise.
But what was the bonfire thing? That's what
bonfire. I had MUFON come out. I called MUFON, and they
Who's
came
MUFON?
out. MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that came out that's on
you contacted
MUFON
them?
is also a known CIA agent.
Yeah. So you contacted them, and they came to your property?
Well, I did, and then they sent some guy that I knew to my house.
How'd you know him?
I was like, I don't want to get into it, but he's an ex-CIA guy.
Okay.
So MUFON sent a CIA guy to my house.
Uh-huh.
And he took readings on the ground with like a something, and then I showed him, and he like told him where the triangle was. I told him about the thing and the other thing, and he just like took all these readings and took it down and then put it whatever they do with it. Then I went.
He didn't say anything. He didn't try to convince you that you were crazy.
He gave me somebody's number to go and be hypnotized to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I went into Atlanta to somebody's house, and I was hypnotized, and I talked about it.
I've been hypnotized twice. It's crazy.
And when I came out of it, I don't remember anything I said. They said, "Can we put this in a book? Can we put this on an audio, whatever? Do you want a copy of it?" I said, "I don't want to know anything." I said, I don't even know what I said. I don't know what I said. To this day, I don't know what I said.
Is it searchable, or are they going to
I don't know.
put your name?
I mean, who would even know? No, it wouldn't be my name.
It'd be anonymous.
But like when I was telling them stuff, when I came out of it, everybody was just kind of like, "Wow," and I was like, "I don't know anything about it," because I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I didn't want.
So you were able to get hypnotized, because not everybody can. You got to be able to really.
Well, he started with like I laid down on the couch. It's a pretty nice house in a pretty nice part of Atlanta, North Atlanta. I laid down on the couch, and he was like, "Imagine you're in a field and you're laying on your back, and then you're floating out of your body, and blah 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 blah." And boom, I was hypnotized.
Yep.
Like straight up. And then so he said, "Tell me about this," and apparently I told him the whole story about everything and all that, but I didn't want to know what I said, because at that time I just wanted to leave it alone. I don't want to know anything about it.
But man,
I don't want it to haunt me.
You're so curious. Like
but that's
you're
when
intellectually curious.
But in 2009, that's when I started like being. My brain fell out, and I was trying to scoop it back in.
Yeah.
After seeing all that, and I just read. I've got a whole library of every book you could possibly buy on UFOs.
Have you ever seen any other stories regarding the red stuff? Has anybody else ever had a similar?
I've never read anything about the red.
Because I've never read anything. That's the only. I've never heard anything. That could be a lot of logical
explanations. The trees were definitely like something hit the trees
like at
in
an
a
angle,
45-degree angle, and you could look up from where you could stand beside where I had bonfires and look up, and you could see the trees were cut like something just came in and boom, right there. You could see they were chopped off like this.
So it looks so I guess the hypothesis is that this craft then got drugged through the driveway.
Yeah, and that drug up to the driveway through this side part where I had grass.
Yeah,
and drug a little bit into.
Could you see it drug from the bonfire up
You
to
could
the
see
driveway?
it drug from the bonfire up to the driveway because the driveway went like this from the house. It would turn and then went up. So here's the bonfire. It was dragged there, put on something, and as it was being pulled out, I think the only thing I can think of is like something was spilling out of it or it was irradiating something.
Yeah.
And it turned the foliage red. I'm talking red like that on-air sign behind you red. Whoa. That's what the foliage was. It was grass, twigs, everything. Red. That red.
That would freak me the fuck out.
It was freaky. And
it's freaky hearing you talk about it.
Here's the weird thing about it. I forgot about it. I did forget about it. And like I went on I was like, oh, no big ho-hum. No big deal. And then I got really drunk one night. Like super drunk with a friend. And I started telling him about all this. And like I got super drunk and like something triggered all this stuff. And I don't remember this because I was drunk because he was telling me about it, and he said that I said that vehicles pulled up to my house, these black vehicles pulled up to my house, and they accosted me. I kept saying they accosted me, and I cried in front of him while I was drunk about it. I said they held me down and accosted me. It's fucked up. And I don't know if that's just me being drunk or if that really happened and it's just flashy thinged out of my brain. You know what I mean? That's fucked up.
And the liquor triggered it? Has liquor ever triggered it again?
No, I never drank that. I don't think I've ever drank that hard again.
That hard? That's the last time you got that drunk?
That's the last time I got blackout drunk. And that was years ago. That wasn't like, 2023. That was probably 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he told me everything I told him, and I was like, holy shit, I remember that. I didn't really remember it, but now I do remember it.
So do you have any memory of being accosted now that you can look back 15 years later?
In my brain, I think my brain can concoct it and make it look right. Because, like, when I see it in my brain, I see me coming out. Because, we lived on a piece of property where if you pulled up, I heard you pulling up in my gravel driveway, and I would go outside and, like, stick my head out the window.
Yeah, same as the my house
So, like, what I see in my brain is I get up and I'm in my robe because, like, when I wasn't driving truck, when I was and when I didn't have to work that day or whatever, I just stay in my robe till like noon or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's me in my robe. I hear
nobody's home but you, or
nobody's home but me.
Where's the wife's gone?
I don't know. The kids are at school.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I see me opening the door. I see black SUVs pulling up, and I see them coming up and talking to me, and I see them grabbing me. And that's all I remember. Like, they grabbed me and held me down. Like, they're holding me down physically.
Black SUVs.
Black SUVs. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's somewhere down there in my mind. It's crazy.
But you can't get all the...
I don't know if that's true or not. That's just I said.
You have some sort of memory of that.
I just have this real tiny speck in my head of
Who was holding you down? Was it men like me, or was it people that didn't look like me?
Dudes in suits.
They were dudes, though. They were just definitely humans.
Definitely
human males.
Definitely human males in suits. I also will tell you this: when I saw that...
So this is after
UFO.
the fact,
when I saw the UFO, when my family saw the UFO, I had a radio on the front porch that never worked again. It never worked ever again.
It shorted it out frequencies or something.
I think that didn't do it. Everybody like went inside all nonchalantly about it.
Like the kids and stuff?
Yeah, they all just went inside and were like, oh, yeah. And I was like, do you all understand what we just saw? I was like, that's fucking crazy. I was like, there was a football field sized over the trees. I could have hit it with a baseball if I threw it straight up in the air hard enough.
So you're talking something like 100 feet
up? It was 100 feet up, like over the trees.
Just above the
tree line. And you look up at it, and it was making zero noise.
Jet black, right?
Jet black. And it had 3 round lights on each corner. On each corner. And it was, we were all standing underneath it, and I was looking at it up like this. And you could feel... I could feel my chest vibrating. Like there was a vibration in my chest.
Well, it had to be
there
that. I
was
mean,
no
a
noise.
craft. What was propelling this craft?
Yeah, I guess people would say anti-gravity technology, but there was no noise.
No propulsion system.
I didn't see anything. It was just a triangle, black triangle. And so like they
Size
go,
of a
so
football
they
field.
a little, yeah.
And has anyone else ever described a UFO craft that looks like that? Because you hear
Yeah,
all these,
that's a big one. That's everybody sees those triangle UFOs.
yeah.
You ever heard about that, Philip? Those triangle UFOs? Everybody's heard about the triangle UFOs. They're called BTR-3s.
Yeah.
Supposedly we have a bunch of them. The government has them. Supposedly there's some at Barksdale. Don't kill me. There's some at Barksdale.
All this stuff's becoming
have told me
declassified now too. So like we're getting
that
to
some
see.
people told me that they went like they're dead or whatever, and they got to go in and look at them. And there's 3 of them, and they're different sizes. They're like 3 different sizes.
How did they get to go into that area with their dad?
I don't know.
Who
It's
is their
just-
dad?
I can't. There's somebody that flew one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
their dad. Wait, that flew one of the craft?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's an
that
alien
they
craft.
flew.
I thought.
No. It's the government. The government owns those. Those are.
So you don't think it was a UFO? You think it was you still?
No,
think
I think that was not a UFO. I think
Military craft.
That was a military craft. What crashed? Who knows what that was? It could have been a satellite. It could have been anything. It could have been.
well, who got it out of your yard?
The government. And then I think
people
they
that
paid
it cost-
me, I think they paid me a visit after that. I think that's when they paid me a visit.
And they injected you with like a memory swipe.
Or whatever, Men in Black, flashy thingy, maybe. I don't know, but I don't know.
You just woke back up in your house after they came.
I don't
in
even remember any of it.
You
Like,
remember the rest of the
I
day?
don't, no, I don't remember anything that ever happened. Nothing. That's what I'm saying. The only way that I know about it is because I told somebody about it when I was blackout drunk, and they told me the story.
You
back
need
to
like
me.
you need like a big heavy duty dose of shrooms or something to get like to like trigger that part of the
Yeah,
brain to be
like,
like
make that-
you got to have something to reactivate.
Yeah,
that part.
reactivate
I don't
that
know if
memory
shrooms would
part.
work, but I mean I feel like some kind of psychedelic
Ayahuasca.
drug. I feel like some kind of
Something
psychedelic serious drug would like get
I
that
don't like
memory
that
out of.
stuff. I've never done it.
How do you know you don't like it?
I just don't.
That's an interesting
I don't-
take.
I don't think I would like it because
You're kind of into discovery and self discovery and growth.
I am, but I'm in a knowledgeable fashion of like reading and doing things. I'm not really into poisoning myself with mushrooms.
But there's no poisoning.
Well, it's
yourself
like you're poisoning yourself, right? It's a
No.
mushroom. It's a fungus.
people
You're
eat-
like poisoning your brain to do something
there's
crazy.
no like long term damage. I don't think anyone ever did.
you don't think there's long-term damage?
No. What proof
I
is
don't
there of
know.
long
Maybe we
term
should-
damage?
Maybe we should do some mushrooms.
Yeah.
You know, in Louisiana, mushrooms are so illegal that if you get caught with mushrooms, it's 10 years minimum, and that's with a lawyer that fights
Yep.
for you to get 10 years minimum.
Yeah.
You can get, if you don't have a lawyer, you get the maximum.
That's why if you have them and you see the popo, just eat.
Just eat them.
Just take the
And
trip of
enjoy
your life.
Enjoy the ride. I
Enjoy the
guess.
ride. They pull over, you got like still
'Cause-
hanging out.
It's funny that something that grows out of the ground like that, and you can take it, and it kind of gives you like, from what I've heard, gives you kind of like a different take on
Oh
the
yeah,
bullshit.
for sure. Psychedelics do that.
Is completely illegal, which means you should probably do
You
it.
should probably do it.
Now I understand why they don't want you to do like meth or anything. Like if you're mixing battery acid in a tub with something and doing it, that's probably bad for you. But something that like grows out of the ground that you eat that checks all the bullshit.
Everything that nature provides for us that doesn't harm you should not be illegal. It's insane that we've allowed it to become illegal. We shouldn't. Our book of laws.
It's probably illegal because somebody wasn't making money. Somebody was losing money or something.
Don't you think our book of laws in a free society should be about that thick? Instead, it's about that thick.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get this many stupid ass laws in a free? We're not free.
We're not free at all.
We're not even close to free.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, everyone's a debt slave, and then
If we walked out of this house now and I had a beer in my hand and I was standing in the road, I could get arrested.
harming no one.
I could get arrested. I could be checking my mail with a beer.
In Louisiana, they'd probably let that ride.
And but if they wanted to be Johnny by the book,
They'd have you.
they could arrest me for having a
once you
beer
got
in
in that
public
once you got in that public property.
road.
Yeah, but as long as you stayed on your property, they couldn't.
Yeah, as long as I'm standing in my
But
yard.
to think about like mushrooms, marijuana, these things, like how did we let people legislate that stuff?
Well, marijuana was
because the hemp
legislated
industry-
because the hemp industry was going to take over the pulp industry, and they didn't want to change the pulp
The paper
the
industry,
paper machines that would cost back in the day.
They bought the politicians to they bought the politicians to tell the politicians to tell the people that the Mexicans were going to rape and kill all the white women.
Yep. Yeah.
It's the same story.
Yeah.
You just retell the same stories.
Well, they said to say that so they didn't have to change over their machines that they had built to make paper from hemp and not pulp.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all about money.
Now it's all about like it's the same lobbyist. They get things passed for their interest.
Well, in the same guise, it's like, well, we made this thing illegal that probably shouldn't be illegal that people enjoy. So now we're going to make a bunch of money off of like incarcerating and arresting people for it.
But we're good. Yeah. And then we
it's
get
good business.
And then guess what? You get free slave labor.
Right.
The for-profit prison system creates a system in which once slavery was abolished, you get the prison system, and then you made it private prisons.
No, the private prison is a bad idea, but the Bushes owned.
Dude, these
Bushes
people
owned a lot of private.
You know
prisons,
these prisoners
I
go.
think.
You know they go work, right? I don't know if you have any experience with like work release people.
No.
So I've had some work for me in the past. These
Unless
people,
Phillips work release,
these people that are in jail, they send them to work, right?
and he's a pretty good guy.
They send them to work. Let's say they send them to work for you.
Yeah.
And you pay them $20 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. The prison takes like $17 an hour.
Are you kidding me?
No, the prison takes 75% of their pay, and then they give them.
They're out of prison.
No, they
They're
come
in
to work.
prison. They're in prison.
They're in prison,
and they come to work.
and they're forced to go work, or
Okay.
they choose to go work.
Yeah.
They make
Which I would
$10
wanna
an
do.
hour. The prison takes $7 an hour.
Oh my God.
So they make $3 an hour. They then every day they give them 2 pieces of white bread with a piece of bologna and an apple. They charge them $5 a day for that times 7 days times so $150 a month. So they take 75% of their pay, then they charge them $150 for the 2 pieces of white bread and the bologna and the apple every day. So the person working, they make $2,000 a month. The prison gets $1,700.
For his incarceration for profit.
And who do you think lobbied for that to be a thing? The prison industry.
Of course.
Lobbied for that to be a thing. It's crazy. Like I saw these checks. I was giving people the checks where I'd like write it. The prison gets a check for $725. Billy Johnson gets a check for $193.
Oh my gosh.
And they just keep sending them for 80 hours, 100 hours, whatever it is, because the prison gets all the money. So imagine if you owned a prison, you're the owner of the prison, and you had 1,000 people in there for drug crimes. For drug crimes, like marijuana crimes, mushroom crimes, whatever. No non-violent offenders. They're in your prison. So guess what? We can trust these people to go out in the public and work all day. But for punishment, they should have to pay you, Mike Hinkle. So you send these.
This is sounding pretty good for me.
You send these 1,000 people to work to make, say, $1,000 every 2 weeks, right? So that's what, $100,000?
Well, now that it's me, what's wrong with it?
No, exactly.
What's wrong with that?
I'm
making millions of dollars. What's
they
wrong
went
with
and
that?
generated $100,000 off their marijuana crime. Mike Hinkle gets $75,000.
Well, look, it's like I've cloned myself and sent myself out to do all these jobs and make all this money. That's great.
When you see
where okay, so let me ask you this. Let me play devil's advocate. What's wrong with that? They get out of the prison. They get to go be in society.
Well, let's take it point at a time.
Okay.
From a moral standpoint, it's fucking theft. From a moral standpoint,
right,
it's theft. The second thing that's wrong with it is you've created crimes and things that shouldn't be illegal in a way to mass incarcerate people into your system that you own, force the government to pay you money for the people, and then for the people to go do labor at your jest and give you the money.
You need to go into politics.
So there's absolutely
100%.
There's absolutely no way there's no moral foundation for it to be correct.
You'd be murdered the second day
Hey, get this. Have you ever you remember Bone Thugs and Harmony, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
Busy Bone's got this one of the members, he's got a video he just put up a couple weeks ago about Can you give me one bottle of vodka? He was called into a meeting in the 90s. They're like, hey, he goes into this room. He walks in this room. It's like 6 or 7 rappers there, and it's a bunch of people that own for-profit prisons, right? They explain to him, hey, They explained to him this whole model, right? And then they said, "Hey, here's what we're fixing to do. Here's what we're fixing to do. Here's what we need you to do." I'll let you finish.
All right.
Okay. So they said, "Here's what."
No, I'm good. I'll just keep it.
They're like, "Hey, here." So they have. So who's in the room?
Okay, start over.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look, I told him to get vodka, and all I could think about was vodka
So you
the
have-
whole time. I zoned out on
know.
you so hard.
I know. So you have. So here's the. They contact the.
Nobody's watching the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
of
they
this
contact the guy from Bone. They say, "Hey, we're having a meeting. We would like you to attend this meeting." This is in like '92. He shows up at the meeting. There's like 6 rappers and 7 or 8 CEOs of these for-profit prisons. Now he doesn't know anything. None of these people or rappers know what for-profit prisons are. That there's private prisons. Anyway, they say, "Hey, here's the deal, boys. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these prisons public." This is how they work, and they kind of explained everything I just explained about the
Well, we'll do it on TikTok. Go ahead.
how the work release works and
Yep.
all that, right? So they explained all that to these rappers, and they said, "Now this is where y'all come in." They said, "We're gonna need y'all to create music that sends the urban environments into chaos, creates gangsters and criminals that we can arrest and put in the for-profit prison." They said, "But here's where you're gonna win, guys. You guys can all invest in our prisons now, and you're gonna reap the rewards when we take these public." And he was like, "What the?" He's like, "Whoa, what the fuck did you just say?" Because he's picking up. He's kind of woke on all of it.
He's like,
he's picking up.
well, you want me to rah-rah-ree everybody into prison and
Because
do bad things?
if you think about this is really
So they want him to rap. Well, hold on. Let me.
This is pre-gangster rap.
This is pre-gangster rap. They
NWA
want them.
had been out, but that's really it. There's no like.
They want them to like make it cool for you to do crimes.
They're proposing to the rappers that, hey, we want to change the way hip hop's
and
done.
you can invest.
We want to change the way hip hop's done. We want you.
This is for real.
For real. You can watch the interview. We want you to make music that's going to create gangsters and criminals in urban communities. Then we can arrest these people. Then we can arrest them. We'll fill up the prisons. The prisons will generate tons of money. We'll send them out to work, which generates more money. And then the stock value increases, and people will want to buy into these for-profit prisons. And you guys will not only be doing the art that influences all of it, but you'll be first-time investors. You're going to become millionaire. Now, 5 of the rappers in there said, "Cool, let's do this." The Busy Bone guy, he was like, he just left, and he just didn't.
I can't be a part of that.
I can't be a part of that. And he didn't speak on it till 2023.
Do you think it was like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and?
I don't want to speculate who it was, but I can tell you this: after that,
Well, think about who got famous. Because think about who the biggest famous gangster rappers were.
Well,
they were pushed into that spotlight.
well, pre this meeting, the biggest hip hop is like DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice.
Safe.
This is what
Safe
This
stuff.
is what hip hop is, right? For the mainstream.
Yeah.
Post this meeting and post the IPO, the individual public offering of the for-profit prisons, their stocks. Post that, all of the mainstream rap was drugs, kill, go,
Big screen TV.
and it was all about. It was a whole plot. It was a whole plan
Too Short.
to change system. Too Short was already out. Too Short was rapping about pimping, baby.
He was rapping about
He was
pimping.
rapping about pimping. Like,
Sitting back on leather watching
Which-
big screens bought by the dope fiend smoking.
yeah, he was. So it was. But if you think about the switch to all murder, all drugs, that was the only thing that was selling. The only thing that was cool for about 6 years. And what happened in that period in the 90s, from 92 to 97, violent
Riots.
crime spiked. The highest violent crime in the history of America, the highest gang activity in the history of America. What did they do with those people? They filled up the for-profit prisons. What did that do? That increased the value of the stock of the for-profit prisons. They all became billionaires, millionaires
Oh
off
my
this thing.
God.
The plan worked exactly how they said it would work. The guys laid out the meeting, said this is what we're going to do. Then they executed the plan. It went exactly to plan, and we're still living kind of in that dystopian nightmare to this day.
God, that is crazy.
As hell.
Man, I never heard of that before. That's wild. I'm gonna do some research.
After
on
we
that.
get off of here, we can pull the interview up and watch the whole and watch the interview.
Let's do it now.
Is it time to wrap it up already?
An hour.
Well, shoot, let's wrap it up. Well,
It's been 59 minutes and 21 seconds.
cool. We'll see y'all next time then.
All right.
Y'all enjoy that story. Bye. See if you can find it.